imagine this? Your country is regarded as one of the most poorest country in Africa. Imagine. On the continent of Africa, your country is one of the three regarded as the most poorest, right? And then you go ahead and start making plans to change that status quo. You start fixing things, you start making things possible for your country and the people in this country to actually start having a normal life. Your country is also being threatened by the fear of terrorism. They are running your place. There is no way to hide. This is what Ibrahim Traore stands for. I guess you guys already know who I'm talking about. Ibrahim Traore. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Because I was listening to an interview. Obviously, I definitely can kind of bet my life on it that this guy is just a Western puppet. The guy that was interviewing him was asking him how long he's still going to stay in office.
Mr. President, there has been a long discussion about how long you will stay and when you will organize elections. How long will the transition last? Is it today? Do you have an answer to this, or do you think it is not a priority? For you, how long will Captain Ibrahim Traore be in charge before organizing elections to step down?
I was going to ask you a question in return before answering you.
I'm not here to answer questions. So
it's a debate. It's nice. If today, in 6 months, we decided to abandon the people, you, as a very objective man, aware of our situation, what would you say? What would your comment be?
Honestly, I prefer to stick to that, even though you know my true thoughts.
All right. Since we've been here, we haven't taken a single day off. The whole exec.
But when you say that, politicians say, this is our job, since there are those who do it. They do their job. We want to return to democracy. We want to go back to parliament with people who are elected. We want to let the people speak. Are we staying like this or setting up a new model? They learned here. We don't want them learning elsewhere and applying it here.
To put them on the right track. They learned their profession. This profession is... We don't want people to learn this profession elsewhere and come apply it here. We want to create a model. Because the way things are done here is in fact not the right way.
The guy just got in office in 2022. What are you talking about? And imagine having 18 assassinations in just 2 years. Like, that's unheard of. Like 18 in just 2 years, it's like a record-breaking number. What did he do? Like, why is he on like a hit list? Why do they want to finish him? We might not understand it. We might think it's all about Burkina Faso, but I can tell you right now that it's not about that. It's not about a specific country. It's actually about the whole continent.
Whenever an African president makes the decision to cut ties with Western countries or to pursue policies that run counter to Western interests, they are often quickly labeled a threat or an enemy by the West. Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso, exemplifies this phenomenon. In the annals of African history, no leader has faced as many coup attempts as Traore. Time and again, internal destabilizing forces manipulated by external powers have attempted to oust him, but they have consistently failed, and it is hoped they will continue to do so. Recently, an attack was reported at the presidential palace in Burkina Faso. An unidentified individual launched a sudden and violent assault on the guard station, resulting in an exchange of gunfire between the guards and the attacker. The objective was undoubtedly to eliminate President Traore. However, with the decisive intervention of the soldiers on duty, security forces managed to control the situation and prevent further violence.
Only 4 days to his first anniversary as the transitional president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore faced an attempted coup.
Je jure devant le peuple burkinabé et sur mon honneur de préserver.
It is an ironic twist of fate for the captain who came to power on September 30th, 2022, after ousting the previous junta leader, Colonel Paul Henry Damiba. Damiba had been in power for only 8 months after ousting Roch Marc Kabore. Damiba's reign came to a quick end on claims that Burkina Faso security crisis was worsening. Traore's military government may have foiled the recent coup, but has the 35-year-old's transitional presidency succeeded where Damiba supposedly failed?
Les changements que nous voyons depuis le coup d'État jusqu'à aujourd'hui, les changements de sécurité, nous, on voit beaucoup de choses. À chaque fois, on attendait ici, on a tué beaucoup de militaires, on a tué beaucoup de civils. Maintenant, aujourd'hui, ça diminue.
Ce que moi j'apprécie, c'est qu'il prend les décisions sans avoir peur. De ce côté, moi je suis d'accord avec lui. Et puis, il consulte le peuple aussi. Il ne peut pas prendre la décision sans consulter le peuple.
During his inauguration in October 2022, Traore pledged to improve security in the West African country.
You know, it's not easy in Africa for leaders to rally their people behind them, but the subject followership and the leadership kind of connection in Burkina under Ibrahim Traore is very high.
Traore visited Russia in July 2023 to deepen security and economic ties with the country. He held talks with President Vladimir Putin on the sideline of the second Russia-Africa Summit in St. Petersburg.
Je tiens donc vous signifier l'amitié surtout à cette étape actuelle qui est très ardente entre les peuples burkinabés et les peuples russes.
Weeks later, a Russian delegation led by Deputy Defense Minister Yunus Bek Yevkurov visited Burkina Faso as a follow-up to the talks between Traore and Russian President Putin.
La coopération militaire est coopération militaire technique, mais aussi la coopération dans le domaine de l'économie, dans le domaine de l'énergie nucléaire, et toutes les questions, et on va faire notre...
It's about the whole continent. Ibrahim Traore is actually redefining the status quo of the whole continent of Africa, not only Burkina Faso. So welcome back to Black Consciousness Movement channel or the Traore Army. Anyway, before I go further on, I want to tell you what this represents. I usually do my nails, but it's unlike for me to kind of do this kind of colors because I always like bright colors. As I'm sitting right here in front of you, I'm actually representing the whole of Burkina Faso. I am here for Ibrahim Traore, the youngest leader on the planet. Yes, he was the youngest. Now he's the second youngest, obviously, but he's still the youngest in the continent of Africa. Actually, he's the second youngest because he was actually the youngest, and then I think there's a president of Italy. I don't know. Yeah, but now he's the second youngest. But in Africa, he's actually the youngest, right? So I'm here for him. I'm here for Traore. Anyway, so the brown, as you can see, represent the brown sand of Africa, obviously. And then the green represent the, you know, in Western Africa, I went to Cameroon and it's almost like the Amazon. Everything is green. You know, it's like it's raining every day. And that's Western Africa, and Burkina Faso is also in Western Africa, so that represents it. But obviously the whole thing represents the flag, the Burkina Faso flag, right? And then there's a red. The red represents what he wears on his head, and that's why I'm wearing this red. I'm sold out to that. I'm sold out to that country. And then we have our black, obviously represent, black is beautiful. Yeah, black is beautiful. Because remember, they associate everything that has to do with black with bad things. The black sheep of the family, blackmail, the black lie, black magic. I don't know whether you've realized that. Because remember, if we have a black lie, we have a white lie, but the white lie is less than. I heard recently from Candace, and I don't know whether she realized that, but obviously it's not her fault because it's a word that has been there. They now have black propaganda. So there will be white propaganda, which is probably less, maybe propagandous, if I have to say that. So yeah, black is beautiful. Anyway, so welcome back here, and today we're gonna talk about what this young man has been doing and why I'm so disappointed in the leaders, the African leaders. So back to the Black Consciousness Movement channel, or the Traore Army. So today we're gonna talk about that young man who's trying everything. And the thing is, when you look at Ibrahim Traore, his conversation and his talks, you know that he is not interested in power. No, he's interested in really making peace with all the leaders, even like Ruto, the president of Canada, the president of Kenya, the president of Kenya, and then we have the president of, he is trying to say that we are here to make peace as a continent. It's not about Burkina Faso only. And you need to wonder why this guy, why do they want to assassinate him? Because remember, I think Mali started this movement first. It's Mali, then Burkina Faso, then Niger. But we are not hearing them trying to, assassinate them. There is something about Ibrahim Traore that they are so afraid of. And this is the thing, guys. I'm disappointed in African leaders because that is a problem with African leaders. They have this thing of, I don't know. And I'm talking about African leaders. That doesn't mean that the Western leaders are not at fault in, even in Africa, right? But right now, I'm actually, charity begins at home. So right now, I'm kind of, sweeping my own house before I start sweeping outside. Now, when you look at Burkina Faso, when you look at the African leaders and, even what Ibrahim Traore stands for, I'm so proud of the Ghanaian president that even though he's older than Ibrahim, he admitted that time when, he was, when Ibrahim, attended his presidential inauguration, that Ibrahim Traore, everybody was admiring him, and everybody was just about him and so on. And the fact that they even allowed him to walk in there with a gun, it wasn't like, the media, the mainstream media started, having stories like, oh no, it's because of this and this. But we know that it has nothing to do with, oh no, he was afraid that the president of Ghana is going to kill him or shoot him or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. That guy is actually coming from being in the military. He is not somebody that was just elected like that. In fact, he wasn't elected. He became the president, or through a coup. And this is another thing that I'm also going to discuss. I'm not going to discuss it today. I'm going to discuss it next week. It's going to kind of follow on this one. It's going to be democracy, because most of these leaders, the African, and that's why I'm not happy about the African leaders. It's almost like we have this thing of like competing. We want to compete. Like we want to be known as the first African leaders who did this. And because now Ibrahim Traore is leading a movement where he's going to be known as, literally about this guy, every single person admire him. Nigerians, Ghanaians, Namibians, Kenyan, every single person talk about this leader. In fact, most of the time when I read the comments, when there's a video about him, I'm always going to the comments. Some Nigerians will say that if we can have him for even 1 week, Nigeria will be a better place. Even South Africans, every single person want him as a leader, even for a week. Now, how is it possible that the citizens can see that, but apparently the leaders can see that? Because I think it's a Nigerian president, and even I think the president of the Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire, now it's a one country, obviously. It's one, they changed the name. I think it's them that wanted to say, oh no, he was not elected democratically, so because he is in power through a coup, now, oh no, they have to look. I'm like, are you serious? Are you seriously telling me that you don't know that most of the countries, most of the colonies of France that has been colonized by France has always went through a coup, and it was always coming from the other side? You know, I don't want to mention some of the things. I don't want YouTube to take my video down. But you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Most of the time it was like, you know, the country elect a president democratically because that's who they want, and then here come, you know, France, and then, you know, through a coup they put their own president, the person that they can use to actually extort resources out of that country, depending on what they want. So what are we talking about when we're talking about democracy? And that's what I'm going to talk about next week. That this democracy that we are talking about, are we sure we are talking about the same thing? Is the meaning still relevant? Is it still valid? Because I mean, look at how many democratically elected presidents they have assassinated. Let's look at Patrice Lumumba from the Congo. And let's not even go further on. In Burkina Faso, that's why they are saying that, you know, Ibrahim Traore has the spirit of Thomas Sankara. He was also assassinated. And who assassinated him? Because one of the things that you need to know who assassinated the person is immediately that after that person get assassinated, the rules that comes into power is the rules of, you know, exploitation. Taking the raw materials outside that country and taking to a specific country. And let's not even act like we don't know which country we are talking about. Let's not even act. So I am disappointed in the African leaders because it's almost like they are jealous of this guy. They don't want him to, and when, honestly speaking, when this guy succeed, and I believe he will succeed, when this guy succeed, and I believe he will succeed, Africa as a continent will be way better than it is right now. I'm telling you. Because now they want to kill this movement. Remember, it's coming from African cannot manage themselves. So do you want that to be proven? Why would you not support a young man who's trying the best he can do to raise his, not only his country up, but also knowing that depending on how that will succeed, other Africans will be encouraged. This is a movement that I feel like all the African leaders should support. Why are you against it? Because you want to be the first one that did one. Is this not what happened to Gaddafi? Like, seriously speaking, we know that NATO would have not entered Libya if South Africa, Uganda, I think, and what is the third country? What is the third country? I think it's, South Africa, Uganda, and Nigeria. If those three countries didn't vote, like didn't give their vote, NATO would have never succeeded in killing Gaddafi. And we know what Gaddafi was standing for. Yes, he has his own things. And one of the things that I've also learned is that mainstream media can make you hate the person who's oppressed and make you love the oppressor. We know that. It's a phrase from someone. I have to quote it here. So guys, I am on this channel. I am so into Ibrahim Traore, posting his videos, talking about him. And like I say, we are not a news channel, but I'm gonna post videos of people who talks about him, who, you know, who are more probably being able to bring the news to you more than I do, so that you can follow and so that the movement can go on and go on and go on and go on. Because as soon as we are all enlightened, it will be easy to actually be able to stand our ground when things change. And I love how Trump stands for that, because Trump is one of those people who say things, and even though I don't think he's in support completely, I think because Trump is one of the people that you can convince. You know, you can convince him to, like, for example, if it was like, I think we know about John F. Kennedy, why he was killed. I share like a video of Candace, what she was saying, and I can share it again. But Trump is the kind of person that you can convince to do something. That's why if he does good things, he does it. But if he does wrong, he does it too. He is unconvincible. He's not somebody that you can, kind of buy under table, give him money under the table and so on, and, he can do whatever, right? So for him to say, kind of say that, I think he can see through, even though he's on all those systems that are actually really just for exploitation, and I will explain those terms in my next video. But for now, Ibrahim Traore, come on guys, these nails was made just for that flag. I love that guy, honestly speaking. I admire him, I admire his courage, and I think that you guys should be able to share his videos, and just so that it go viral, so that people are aware that they want to kill him. They don't want to kill Burkina Faso or the dream of Burkina Faso. They want to kill the dream of the continent. They want to kill the dream of the continent, because as soon as you kill one person, the other people get discouraged, because who wants to die? Anyway, guys, I hope you'll share this video. Please like and comment. Let's have a conversation and push that notification button, so that every time we have a new video about news from Black Consciousness Movement and Traore and so on, you'll be able to be notified. So from me, Jehovah, bye guys.